Hello, I'm Craig Brelsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with the executives of two public companies. First up is Atossa Therapeutics Incorporated. Atossa Therapeutics is a clinical-stage biopharmaceutical company advancing Z-endoxifen, a next-generation selective estrogen receptor modulator with best-in-class potential across the breast cancer treatment spectrum. The company is strategically prioritizing metastatic breast cancer, where Z-endoxifen has shown encouraging clinical activity, favorable tolerability, and the potential to address endocrine resistance through dual targeting of ER-alpha and PKC beta-1. With multiple phase 2 trials completed, a proprietary oral formulation, and a strong intellectual property portfolio, Atossa is positioned to deliver meaningful therapeutic innovation and create long-term value for patients and investors alike. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Up next is Calidi Biotherapeutics. Calidi Biotherapeutics is a clinical-stage immuno-oncology company with proprietary technology designed to arm the immune system to fight cancer. Calidi's novel stem cell-based platforms utilize potent allogeneic stem cells capable of carrying payloads of oncolytic viruses for use in multiple oncology indications, including high-grade gliomas and solid tumors. Calidi's clinical-stage, off-the-shelf universal cell-based delivery platforms are designed to protect, amplify, and potentiate oncolytic viruses, leading to enhanced efficacy and improved patient safety. Calidi's preclinical, off-the-shelf, enveloped virotherapies are designed to target disseminated solid tumors. This dual approach can potentially treat or even prevent metastatic disease. Calidi Biotherapeutics is headquartered in San Diego, California. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Before we dive into our first interview, let's take a moment to recognize some of RedChip's top performers in 2024. Among them, RedCat, up an incredible 1,293% in 2024. Alliance Entertainment, soaring by 842%, Gorilla Technology, which gained 250%, and Nova Minerals, up 149%. These companies have demonstrated the immense potential of the small-cap market. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small-cap stock analysis.
A new era of small-cap research has arrived with RedChip's RedChat, the fastest, most accurate AI assistant for small caps. The days of spending hours sifting through press releases, 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 13Fs, 13Gs, and other filings is over. Now, get answers in seconds on 4,000 small-cap stocks in one portal. Simple, fast, accurate, detailed answers. Meet small caps with RedChat.
Now, let's move on to our quote of the week. It comes from the book, Small Stocks, Big Money. Work hard, be a long-term thinker, develop tenacity, and remember, nothing happens without taking calculated risks. This quote comes from Phil Sassower of the Phoenix Group, and it is featured in Chapter 9 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with Atossa Therapeutics. Hello, we're here today with Dr. Stephen Quay, who is the CEO of Atossa Therapeutics, trading on the NASDAQ under the symbol ATOS. Stephen, thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here.
Let's start with the big picture. You're developing Z-endoxifen, which has shown best-in-class potential across the breast cancer treatment paradigm. What sets this apart from current treatment options?
Pretty simple. You get the way you're best in class is you do two things to the cancer, not one. So all of the other endocrine therapies block estrogen binding. Endoxifen does that, and then in addition, it causes the cell to commit suicide. That's its double punch that works so well.
Metastatic breast cancer, that's your lead focus. Now, can you explain what makes this such a high need area and why Atossa chose it as its first indication?
Yeah, so just a little bit of background. If you can get the breast cancer when it's still in the breast, it is curable in almost all cases. But once it's metastatic, which by definition means it's somewhere in the body, typically in the bones, sometimes in the brain, you're in a very different space where you're trying to give the person as much quality of life as you can, but you're probably not going to cure it. This is a really high need, and we believe this double function of endoxifen, of being able to hit estrogen and cause the cells to commit suicide, is going to really help these women extend the life, extend the quality of life, and that's really important.
Now, Stephen, you're also developing endoxifen for breast cancer prevention and earlier stage treatment. What's the opportunity there, and what has the Charisma study shown so far?
Well, look at um, to prevent a disease like breast cancer would be phenomenal. Women would never have to worry about it. Even though we're curing women with cancer that's inside the breast, there's still, a lot of trauma, and the like. So being able to identify women who are going to get breast cancer in the next 4, 5, 6 years, and then treat them with a drug that's not much different than a sugar pill, that is, its side effects are very similar there, would be game changing. Every minute that we're having this interview, a woman's being diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States. And so we would be able to stop maybe 100 to 125,000 women from getting breast cancer.
Now, what is the status of your current clinical development programs, and what are the key upcoming milestones investors should be watching for in this year, 2025, and beyond?
Yeah. So we announced the first half of this year was focusing on what we needed to do to get the drug prepared for a registration trial for FDA approval. That's when we announced the metastatic route. We're working with the FDA. We're working with contract research organizations. This will be an international study. When we're up and running 24/7 somewhere in the world, people will be looking at going into this clinical trial. So that's been a focus in the first half of the year. But we still have very important ongoing trials in what's called the neoadjuvant setting, which is between first diagnosis and surgery, a 4 to 6 month window of time, in both monotherapy and in combination with Lilly's, top drug, abemaciclib. So there'll be a lot of reporting, both in scientific meetings and as we go along here, on FDA path, CRO recruitment, and the clinical trials themselves.
Turning to finances, you recently reported having more than $65 million in cash and zero debt. How does that position you for the road ahead?
Well, we're we're in the top 20 or 10% of all biotech companies that have 2 years worth of runway. Clearly, these trials that we'll be doing in 2026 will cost more, but for now, we're in a very good financial position. And again, not having debt gets back to my Scottish heritage where, you don't want to have debt if you can help it.
Now, in summary, what is the essential value proposition? Why should investors take an interest in Atossa today?
Because by the end of this year, we intend to have our first patient in the trial that we will be doing to lead to registration, to lead to FDA approval. And so the next 6 months are going to be a lot of work inside the company. But as we report that out, we'll be in a different space with respect to the community of biotech companies, again, with a lot of cash in our balance sheet. So this is the time to get in at the prices that we're at.
It is an attractive story indeed, Stephen. Thank you for sharing Atossa's story with us today.
Glad to be here.
Now, to get more information on Atossa Therapeutics Incorporated, visit atosinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Atossa Therapeutics. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel, and also go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip CEO featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy on Amazon today for just $18. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small-cap stock analysis.
A new era of small cap research has arrived with RedChip's RedChat, the fastest, most accurate AI assistant for small caps. The days of spending hours sifting through press releases, 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 13Fs, 13Gs, and other filings is over. Now, get answers in seconds on 4,000 small cap stocks in one portal. Simple, fast, accurate, detailed answers. Meet small caps with RedChat.
Now, let's move on to our interview today with Calidi Biotherapeutics. Today we have Eric Poma, CEO of Calidi Biotherapeutics, trading on the New York Stock Exchange American under the ticker CLDI. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Eric, you joined Calidi Biotherapeutics as CEO earlier this year. What drew you to this company, and what excites you the most about leading Calidi at this pivotal moment?
Yeah, I've spent 30 years more working in oncology. A lot of companies out there are doing incremental approaches, but oncology is fundamentally a disease of genetic instability. Tumors become resistant to everything that's out there, so you're always looking for something brand new that the tumor hasn't seen before. That's where the real breakthroughs have come. You think about CAR-Ts, you think about immuno-oncology in general. Those have been brand new paradigms, brand new breakthroughs. I think Calidi represents that. I think the technology we're working on at Calidi here really is something wholly new and has the potential to kind of fit into that paradigm of something brand new, something the tumor hasn't seen, something that can really drive long-term remissions in patients.
Eric, let's talk about Redtail. This is Calidi's flagship platform for systemic virotherapy and precision genetic medicine delivery. What sets Redtail apart from other approaches in the immuno-oncology space?
Yeah, it's a great question. And look, we're at the tail end of a decade worth of research that went into Redtail. So it's a really exciting time at the company. It's predicated on a very, very deep understanding of how to genetically engineer viruses that the company's accrued over that time. But what Redtail represents is a viral platform that can hone into tumors even when they're in metastatic sites throughout the body, can officially disseminate into those after systemic administration. And once at the tumor, it can lyse those tumor cells in a way that's immunologically priming, but it can also deliver genetic medicines at those tumor sites. That's something that you don't really have right now. It's a huge jump in what we can do with oncolytic therapies here and with delivery of genetic medicines. So I think it has a real potential to be transformative. And again, it's coming at the end of 10 years of research. We're primed now to go into the clinic and prove this out. So very, very exciting time for us.
Your lead candidate is CLD 401, Eric, and it is generating strong preclinical results. Please walk us through how this therapy works and tell us what makes it so promising for hard to treat metastatic cancers like lung and ovarian cancer.
Yeah, so this is the first compound that's coming out of our Redtail platform. Again, that what's really exciting here, and we're seeing this for the first time in all of our animal models, that you can give CLD-401 systemically. So just through a tail vein injection into the mouse, it goes everywhere, finds where the tumor is, even in these kind of hard to reach metastatic sites. This is the first time we're seeing this. Once there, it lyses those cells, it triggers a strong immune response. But then what's really exciting here is we're delivering a genetic medicine called IL-15 superagonist. That is a really potent cytokine that drives a really, really potent immune recognition of the tumor. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch that is much, much more powerful together than apart. And again, the reason we're so excited about this is that in the clinic, we just saw an approval of an IL-15 superagonist, but it's limited to bladder cancer where you can just push it into the bladder, it stays there, and you get very, very good activity. And you have to give it with an immune priming agent called BCG. That has been a great advance for bladder cancer, but it's limited to the fact that you can only give IL-15 into the bladder where it can stay there. If you try to give it into the whole patient, you trigger a lot of toxicity. Here, we're overcoming that. We can bring it just to where the tumor is instead of throughout the whole patient and express it at really high levels. So we think this is a paradigm shift for delivery of genetic medicines directly to metastatic sites in the tumor. We think that the combination of the data we're seeing here is really unprecedented, and we're extraordinarily excited about moving this into the clinic.
In addition to Redtail, Calidi is progressing with Supernova, your intratumoral virotherapy program. How does this pipeline diversification strengthen your strategic position?
Yeah, this is an older technology that really laid the groundwork for Redtail. Here, we were trying to figure out how do you avoid viruses being cleared by the immune system. And so the Calidi had hit upon the idea about embedding them or loading them into stem cells where the membrane of the stem cell would protect viral clearance. That in is of itself a big step forward for oncolytic viruses. We've seen we're going into the clinic there in areas with really large unmet medical need, head and neck cancer, triple negative breast cancer, and sarcoma. And we think that this represents a big jump into the current crop of oncolytic viruses that exist in those spaces. We've also been able to manufacture with a very good cost of goods here. So we've kind of proven through opening our IND that we understand how to manufacture these compounds. And that's all insight that went directly into Redtail.
You've mentioned a clear roadmap ahead for CLD 401, including IND enabling studies and a dose escalation trial. What are the key development milestones investors should be watching for in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, so we're moving forward with our IND enabling studies. That's the work you do to get the drug into the clinic. We're really excited about the clinical study here because, again, I don't think it's going to take long to prove out that we can efficiently disseminate virus via systemic delivery here and deliver those genetic medicines to the tumor. So the way the study is structured, it's a very limited dose escalation. We think we're going in with an efficacious dose right from the get-go, and we think it'll be very quick to understand that the platform is working here in patients. So very early on in the study, we should be able to understand that the virus is doing what it's been doing in preclinical models here in terms of being able to deliver these genetic medicines and trigger this immune response. So we think we're getting very, very close to proving out the potential of the scaffold. Typically, you're waiting for phase 3 to understand if your drugs work or not. But here, we think early in phase 1, we'll get a very good sense of whether the platform is doing what it was designed to do. So again, we think we're starting to knock on that door about proving clinically that the platform can do what we've seen it do preclinically.
You've also spoken about potential biopharma partnerships. Can you speak to how strategic collaborations could accelerate Kalidi's development and commercial path forward?
Yeah, look, it's no secret that innovation lies in biotech and not in pharma. Pharma is always looking for biotechs to partner with around innovation. That appetite continues. We see it in the markets either through collaborations or through M&A. Here, we think that Calidi is poised to be looking at getting those kind of partnerships. Those represent an influx of both non-dilutive capital as well as some expertise and some functionality that the partner company can tap into. So we're excited about the potential for that. That's been my career as well. I've put multiple collaborations in place with large pharma, and we think the unique nature and the innovative nature of this technology sets us up well for that.
Final question, Eric. What is the essential value proposition? Why should investors take an interest in Kalidi today?
Look, I don't have to tell you, we all know that oncology remains an intractable issue here. We all have loved ones who have suffered from this. Oncology can cycle in and out of favor amongst investors, but fundamentally the value proposition remains the same, which is that there's huge unmet medical need and that can come with huge value drivers if you can make a dent in the impact of oncology. We think we have a brand new approach here. The preclinical data has been extraordinarily encouraging here, so there's huge potential promise here. We think that promise can be borne out early in clinical development. This is not an iteration on what's out there where you have to prove this is better than the compound you iterated on. This is a brand new approach where we think early in clinical development, you can see the promise of the approach manifesting. We think the company is not well known right now. We think it's hugely undervalued. And as we drive to the clinic, as we put out more data in public conferences like we did with AACR and ASCO recently, and we plan to do throughout the year, we think that'll drive understanding of the technology for pharma, for investors, and that will really drive valuations here.
It's an attractive story, Eric. Thank you for sharing Calidi's story with us.
Thank you so much for the time.
Now, to get more information on Calidi Biotherapeutics, visit cldiinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Calidi. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel, and also go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can order Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book written by RedChip CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon for $18. Now, let's recap the companies featured today. First, you met Atossa Therapeutics Incorporated, ATOS on the NASDAQ. Atossa Therapeutics is a clinical-stage biopharmaceutical company advancing Z-endoxifen, a next-generation selective estrogen receptor modulator with best-in-class potential across the breast cancer treatment spectrum. The company is strategically prioritizing metastatic breast cancer, where Z-endoxifen has shown encouraging clinical activity, favorable tolerability, and the potential to address endocrine resistance through dual targeting of ER-alpha and PKC beta-1. With multiple phase 2 trials completed, a proprietary oral formulation, and a strong intellectual property portfolio, Atossa is positioned to deliver meaningful therapeutic innovation and create long-term value for patients and investors alike. Learn more at www.atosinfo.com. Then you met Calidi Biotherapeutics, CLDI, on the New York Stock Exchange American. Calidi Biotherapeutics is a clinical-stage immuno-oncology company with proprietary technology designed to arm the immune system to fight cancer. Calidi's novel stem cell-based platforms utilize potent allogeneic stem cells capable of carrying payloads of oncolytic viruses for use in multiple oncology indications, including high-grade gliomas and solid tumors. Calidi's clinical-stage, off-the-shelf, universal cell-based delivery platforms are designed to protect, amplify, and potentiate oncolytic viruses, leading to enhanced efficacy and improved patient safety. Calidi's preclinical, off-the-shelf, enveloped virotherapies are designed to target disseminated solid tumors. This dual approach can potentially treat or even prevent metastatic disease. Calidi Biotherapeutics is headquartered in San Diego, California. Learn more at www.cldiinfo.com. Don't forget, check out our stocks page. It is the biggest small-cap stock portal in the industry. It has every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange whose market caps are $2 billion and less. And it's categorized by industries. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small-cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-REDCHIP or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small-cap stocks can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small-cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies. So please, always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thank you for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting, emerging growth companies.
RedChip. We build investor audiences for small cap companies, retail and institutional. 33 years, thousands of clients. We are experts in messaging. National TV ad campaigns, investor webinars, digital media, reaching hundreds of thousands of investors. RedChip. We do it well, we do it right, we do it big. RedChip. Call us or email us today.